Coming up, we have our first awesome movie of 2026. Stay tuned as we dissect Primate.
911, what's your emergency? Crazy! He killed all the others! Who killed the others?
Happy New Year and welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Arturo Padilla, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. Before we get started, do not forget to subscribe down below, hit the like button, hit the bell, all that good stuff. We'd highly appreciate it. Now let's get started. Tex, how are you, buddy?
Oh man, howdy everybody, howdy Arturo. We have so 2026, right? We're entering a whole new year of movies, so that's a lot of pressure, right? Because we're heading. January is usually dump month, and we're like, oh god, we're gonna get the worst of the worst to start off the year, and it's a shame because we're coming off of some of the best off of last year. So heading into Primate, you and I both had no real expectations for this whatsoever.
None whatsoever, man.
This is Paramount's latest drop. Paramount, I for as much as we've complained about them on the show here, we're talking about them trying to buy Warner Brothers. They keep trying, by the way. Little tangent that they've tried over and over again. Like, girl, move on, right? So, but I got to give them the credit in that they do come out with horror movies. Like they're kind of taking that Blumhouse box of like lower budget horror movies. Let's try and make them a thing. And they found success, right? With Smile, and Smile 2 came out. And then there's like stuff on Paramount Plus of like Apartment 7A. There's Vicious. There's like a bunch of stuff. So Primate coming in, we were like, all right, this could be either, I don't know what you expected, Arturo, but I did not expect this, right?
Listen, you know why though? January hasn't had the best record in terms of releases. At this time last year, we got hit with Night Swim. And we still to this day talk about how terrible that movie was. And then it was followed up by Imaginary. So it wasn't a very good start to 2025 in the genre of horror. But folks, Primate, I had no expectations whatsoever for this movie. As Tex just mentioned, we saw the trailer in late, I believe it was in late November or December.
Yeah.
It was late last month. It wasn't like it was going around for months, but
it was definitely, they definitely buried it, right? In terms of
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because when we saw it, we were like, what did we just watch here?
Yeah, because they buried the trailer, knew they were dropping in January, and hoping for the best, right? Hoping for some kind of return on investment. And honestly, dude, this is I don't know what to think. I guess like getting into this, right? Like getting into the actual review itself, like it's so Arturo has said it many times in the Morgue's past, where like you're not a fan of like B horror, right? Like B horror movies, because it's like intentionally bad doesn't jive with you.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not a big fan of camp and campy horror movies, intentional camp. There's a huge, audience for that stuff. But I'm not the one. And walking into this one, honestly, this is what I thought we'd be getting, especially after watching the first couple of minutes of the movie. Just the picture alone, if you guys are watching on YouTube, like you see this, you're like, oh boy, what am I getting into?
Yeah, Arturo's totally right? So it's very smart in that like the opening, like we're gonna get into spoilers here for this review, just as a heads up. But I think even with spoilers, I think you'll be fine, because the Primate's not exactly like a story-driven movie, right? It's an evil monkey movie, and you're going in to see a monkey do some monkey shines, get into some monkey business, right? And do some wild things and go bananas, as one would say. But like, with Primate, it opens with like, evil, like there's a monkey in an enclosure, there's a doctor going, all right, I'm gonna, inject you with something to kind of fit you, something's going on with you, and then his face gets ripped off, and you're like, yo, and that's in the first like opening few minutes, title card, and you're like, all right,
out of nowhere, bro. Because honestly, that is the last thing you expect.
Right.
Like I was like, okay, we're just gonna start here. We're gonna have a doctor here kind of set up everything. Monkey's sick, he's gonna inject him. fade to
Right.
black, show the main characters and blah, blah, blah. But no, we get a complete face rip and the camera just stays static on the
Yeah.
shot. So you can
Yeah.
see the entire rip from chin to scalp. And it is all practical and
Yeah.
gorgeous. And after I saw
Yeah.
that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Did that just happen? Let's
One-
go.
1000%, because it's like, yo, I can't believe it. And like a lesser movie, right? A lesser version of this movie, it would have had the doctor get pulled into the enclosure, right? You would have, it would have,
Very Congo-esque,
yeah, you would have heard the screaming, you would have heard the monkey noises, and then that would have been it, right? Maybe some blood fly out, and then that would have been it for it. Like that's all we would have seen. But no, we get full face rip. And then thankfully it opens that way because, like Arturo was alluding to before, the intro is rough. Like rough is an understatement. Like
Not what you want.
yeah, because it's like you're introduced to this girl named Lucy who's coming home to Hawaii. Her mother was like a doctor or something, but like she's been away from home. Something happened to their mother. Her mother, I think, died.
Yeah, I think passed away from cancer or something like that or other.
She's coming home for the first time and she's like bringing her best friend, and then her best friend invited some other girl who doesn't like Lucy doesn't like, and she's like, well, why'd you invite her to my house? Isn't it your house? But I guess it's how Hawaii is, right? Like I guess it's how everybody could just invite everybody. Point is, right, there are these two dudes who are like terrible and they're giving bad bro dialogue and they're not great actors themselves, so it's like it's really rough getting there. And then you get to the house. It's a cool location too. Like I think it does a lot to like set up this house itself. Like there's some cool like landscape shots to kind of set up how isolated they actually are within this island mansion. And it's like above a cliff, and honestly gorgeous. Like this is where I'm like, yo, like this is
stunning.
Yeah, I was like, this is a good looking movie, good looking house, right? But you have to get through, like maybe it feels like 10, like maybe it's 10-15 minutes in the grand scheme of the movie, but it might feel like longer for many
the first act. Yeah, the first act is a little rough. That's where my gripes come, honestly. In that transition into the second act, I feel that more could have been done in terms of keeping up the action in the script. But honestly, that's just me being super freaking nitpicky. But all that said, in all truth, this thing goes into this sequence where now it's like, all right, folks, we dropped all the intro, we dropped all the fluff nonsense. This is the movie. So Tex, would you like to tell the audience exactly what happens here?
Yeah, it goes full ape. They find out Ben, who's this, it's this ape they've been living with because it's their mother raised it. It's like super smart, no sign language, uses devices and stuff to communicate. All the standard horror movie
Amy from Congo though, but anyways.
Yes, right. It's going for that Congo vibe, but without going that far, right?
There's no power glove here on the on the gorilla, so we're good.
Right. It's going for that kind of monster movie setup, right? And basically Ben gets rabies, and then everything goes ape, right? Like he bites the younger sister, Lucy's younger sister, in the leg. That all kind of goes nuts. They all jump in a pool. What the brother of the best friend is like, yo, I'm gonna push this monkey off the edge off the cliff. He gets pushed over instead, and it's like this cool, like the way the movie does it too is like super cool, because it's like it does the effort of like following him down like as he's screaming and yelling, and then you cut to a cool angle of watching his head hit the rocks, and you're like, yo,
right onto the pile of rocks, dude. It was so awesome, and again, so unexpected, right, Tex? Like, like I was like, okay, cool, we got the face rip, but I've seen movies where they're, they have a smaller budget and they're like, okay, we'll show you one cool kill, but then everything else will kind of hide, with the camera shots and all this stuff here. But they were not shying away from any of the kills here. And this is why I have to commend this movie so much, because there are so many horror movies that we see in theaters, folks, that shy away from the good stuff. and they're rated R. I can't name any off the top of my head right now, but if you give me 5 minutes or so offline, I can definitely find you a list of movies that we were like, why did they do this? Why did they do this? They had a rated R. Why didn't they go for this? But this one over here realizes exactly what it is and what it wants to deliver to the audience. And that is, hey, we're giving you a killer monkey movie. This is legit monster movie stuff here. And they are not afraid to show the actions of this, enraged monkey. And honestly, I, for one, want to watch it again.
Because like, there is a lull. Like Arturo and I were talking about this off air, so we do have to mention this here as part of the official show, where we were kind of having a debate over, because they're in the pool for quite a while, because after the brother gets thrown off, it's more like, okay, we're stuck in this pool, and there is a lull in terms of like action taken by the characters, because Ben himself is a present danger, but he's not a clear and present danger, where he's not actively taunting, he's not actively,
he's no Harrison Ford, right?
Right, yes, he's not actively clawing at them and being like, yo, you're stuck in the pool, but I can get you at any time. So there is a bit of that, there is a bit of a lull there. So, but also it's kind of like, it makes sense for them because one of the characters did die off when he was being proactive. So it's one of those things. But at the same time, it's like, man, there are just so many cool things done. I think that's the thing, right? It's like you and I, Arturo and I like have spent time talking about this and how we were going to approach this for you all here, the buddies at home. But it's more like at the end of the day, we're like, yo, we kind of just had fun, right? Like, because it's like, I also don't want to spoil every kill, because it's like, yes, we're spoiling this, but at the same time, it's like, one of the things is also the kind of shock factor in how some of the kills are done, but it's not schlocky in the way it does things either. It's like, because you're kind of in that mode of like, okay, this is a monkey doing monkey stuff and doing like, the only thing is, he's not full rabies monkey until maybe like there's a kill in the middle where like one of the bro dudes gets like he gets killed, and it's like, it's particularly brutal, and then the monkey taunts him in a way with like one like, and it's so cool, and it's worth it, but also it's like it took its time getting there, and it's like, you can also like, I also would not blame anyone for being like, oh, well, kind of dragged, right? Like I wouldn't blame anyone for that.
No, but then you got to point to, but the kills, right?
Yes, right.
And
that's the other
like
thing.
Pretty much everyone dies in this movie, right? Which is fucking awesome. Excuse my language, and also completely unexpected. And back to the kills, like they look great. There is great, no camp or B to any of that stuff. And that is also another commendation to this entire filmmaking crew. The technical side of this stuff, the camera work is awesome. There are tons of depth of field shots where it shows Ben doing some climbing in the back or something sinister in the back. And it really helps the storytelling because it's quiet and it's like they're in a pool or they're in a setting where they have to stay quiet. But then the camera does all the work for us. And it just kind of helps build this tension and suspense as Ben gets more into this rabies zone or whatever you want to call it. And the camera work, again, everything looks good in this movie. It's not a campy movie. It's not a B movie. And again, I am still shocked we're getting this in January after last year's nonsense, right?
That's 1000% it. It's got that B movie, monster movie spirit, but it's like it's executed well. Like everyone here knew
it has the fun and the spunk of the camp and the B movie, but then it's a serious movie.
Yes, it made sure that when these deaths happen, you're like, whoa, like you're like, yo, that's a good one. And you're like, and even there are a few deaths where you're like, yo, that's a little cheesy, like how it gets there. But at that point, you're like, this is the evil monkey killing people. And you're like, all right. You're like, it's one of those things where it's that B movie spirit of just like, all right, but there's so much about it that's just like, you want to praise it on a technical level too. I know we try to avoid like technical praise here on the show because it's like, I always feel like that's the more subjective stuff, right? Of like whether or not, like, for me personally in this movie, I'm like, yo, I love the music. Like, I love that it's like, it's very nostalgic. It's very like,
it's
70s, 80s
industrial,
type.
dark
Yeah.
wave, kind of like slasher-esque score to it,
Yeah, it
and
felt very Carpenter, right? It felt
dude,
very like,
it's awesome. Yes, because it does it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Dude, it's awesome. Like, so much so I had to go back before we went on to listen to some of the music, and I was like, "Yo, yeah, Tex is absolutely right. This music fucking rules, dude." They did a
Yeah.
great job with the score. They did a great job with the technical aspect of this movie. Like, it looks good. And Ben has some aspects of him that there's a man in a suit. There's some CG a little bit at times, but like again, once you get into it, you kind
Yeah.
of forget that because
Yeah.
it's done so well, especially the look of Ben. He's not the most attractive ape out there. So his skin's a little blotchy, and that works perfectly with the rabies and the drooling and stuff, and the
Yeah.
lighting in this movie as well. Back to the technical stuff, the lighting in this movie, in the interior stuff, is absolutely awesome and really helps Ben shine as a true monster, man. I loved it. I loved all the
Yeah.
technical stuff. But like you said, like the story-wise, there's not much here for these actors to really chew on, you know? But
Yeah.
again, that's not the point of this
Yeah,
movie.
it's like, yo, watch this evil monkey tear some kids apart, right?
Yes.
And it's like, yo, and this movie does like go the
Exactly.
extra mile of like, you know, it has a main story for Lucy, like her, you know, it's her family going through this, you know, past death of the mother figure. So they're like reuniting after all this time. The father has to leave for business.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things of like, yo,
yeah,
but
that's the
then
theme there, you know, the father's away, and then
right,
he's, you know, yeah.
and then it all comes full circle with like the father coming back, and you're like, yo, that final act takes a turn where you're like, yeah, get that monkey, and you're like, yo, it's such like, it's just satisfying. Like there's
Yes,
so much of it
yes.
that's just like, there's so much of it that's where the work is put in. I think Arturo is right in that, like, yes, story might be bare bones, but they wanted to make an evil monkey movie, and like they really put everything behind the evil monkey. Like Arturo said, Ben himself, he is a guy in a suit, and you know, you do recognize that, like there are some shots where you're like, oh, okay, that's a big monkey head
Yeah,
for
it's
like,
very dude, it reminded me a lot of Planet of the Apes from 96 or 99, whatever that year was, right? That Mark Wahlberg
what
one?
the Burton one, right? Yeah,
Yes.
the Mark Wahlberg one, yeah. Where it's like, oh, okay, that's clearly a human person in a monkey suit, but
Yes.
like, yeah, but
Dr.
then
Zayas,
there,
Dr. Zayas, pity me.
yes,
Oh, Dr. Zayas.
yeah. And with that being said, like Arturo said, there are some times where it's like, yo, like they really made that monkey look good, and they really put the effort where it needed to be. And at the end of the day, you're like, yo, I'm gonna go see an evil monkey movie kill kids, and this movie is like, yo, this is the evil monkey killing kids, and you're
Mission
like, this,
accomplished, dude, legit.
yeah, and then like good final fight, like
Yes.
the monkey gets his ass beat too at one point,
Dude,
and like,
legit
yeah,
hand-to-hand combat with a
yeah,
rabid
it's like,
monkey, bro.
you know, the first time someone punches this monkey in the face, it's so satisfying because you're like, the whole
It's like,
time,
yeah.
yeah, because the whole time I bet part of me was like, yo, somebody's just got to do it. Somebody's just got to hit this monkey with something. But then when it finally happens, that's when it's like, yeah, like that's the big audience moment, right? Of like, yo, like, yeah, like
It's
I
fun.
think,
It's
yeah,
fun. It's a
right,
lot of
right,
fun. Like this
yes,
movie, like just it's just fun, dude. Like the theater, I was watching it, like also surprising good amount of people in the theaters,
yeah,
right?
same
On a
here.
Friday morning watching Primate. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And it delivered. It delivered 90 minutes of fun in January in 2026. It's the last thing we expected. It's
Yeah.
literally the last thing we expected here. And that's why we're so satisfied with this movie because it delivered and then some. Like, aside from it being like a dump month movie, right? It was a good movie that you can put anywhere in the slate and it's still gonna qualify as a good movie. And that's why
Yeah.
it was so shocking that we get this in the first real release of January, and it is an absolute success. And it's so hard to even you see that I have to go back to the previous year. We had so many disappointments paying for a movie that when you have a movie like this and you end up having this amount of fun in theaters, you're like, dude, this is why I pay for a ticket for movies like this. And people can say, "Oh, it looks like a streamer." I'm like, "Yes, but I think that big screen really kind of gets you in that, and having that killer monkey do all the killer monkey fun stuff really gets you in there, man." And I think watching this on the big screen was definitely the way to go. I'm kind of glad this was not released on streaming. We don't say that a lot here on the Morgue. Usually we
Right,
go with
right.
oh, this should have been a streamer. But this one, I'm glad it was a theatrical release. Just wrapping up my end of this conversation here, the music, the camera work,
Mhm.
the practical work, everything that you want from a horror movie was there. Again, the story was just a vessel to get us to the kills, honestly. And that said, this was a success. That is where I'm going to wrap this. You guys know how we do this here at the Morgue. There is always stay away from it, which is very, very self explanatory. It means it's stinky. Don't bother. There is wait for it, which means you can wait for this thing to drop on a streamer and watch it in the comfort of your own home. And there is pay for it, which is very self explanatory. And me, for one, Tex, I am going to jump right to myself here and not waste any time and say, folks, go out there and pay for it. Primate is a definite hit, in my opinion, and a heck of a time at the movie theaters. Tex, what say you?
No, I 1000% agree. It's a pay for it. Like, it's go see it, man. It's just an awesome
It's
horror
fun.
movie. Yeah, like if you want just a good horror movie to check out, like you couldn't ask for a better one. It's gory, it's fun, it's lean too. Like, yes, there may be some lulls, but honestly, you're only in there for 90 minutes. Like, just go see it, dude. There are like, just go see it. Like,
There's
go see
definitely worse
Monkey.
things to watch,
Yeah,
you
like,
know?
just like Arturo mentioned, Dr. Zaius, I don't hate every ape I see from, what was it, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee, you know what I mean? They didn't make a monkey out of us, so it's like,
No,
like,
they didn't.
it's a good movie, man. Just go see it.
Yes, absolutely. And folks, with that, do not forget to subscribe, to like, and to hit that bell to know when these videos are dropping. A big shout out always goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you. A big shout out goes to you guys for listening. This has been the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Arturo Padilla, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. And always remember, folks, it is a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.